Moving on to the part B of question number 2, right? Now we are given this rectangle, and rectangle vertices are named as A, E, B, C, and D, right? We have to find the values of unknown angles, and here unknown angle is C degree and D degree, right? So I have drawn the same rectangle here on a blank page. So I have named it, right? We are given 39 degree. We are given the value of this angle, that is 78 degree, and we have to find the value of this angle and this angle, right? So now again, repeat the laws. The law says that rectangle has in a rectangle opposite sides are equal in length and they are parallel. So this one is equal to this one and this one side is equal to this one. So this won't work for us because we have to find the angles, not the sides. So law is per the angles of rectangle is that all angles inside a rectangle are 90 degree, right? So this one angle is equals 90 degree. This one angle, this whole angle, not just this part, this is 39 degree, but this whole angle equals 90 degree. So this whole angle, right, equals the 90 degree, not just this part d degree, this 90 degree, right? So this one whole angle equals 90 degree, right? So now if I name it here, this one is 90 degree, right? I have named it as 90 degree. So now let's have a look at it carefully, right? Don't you see it as a triangle, this one, right? It seems as a triangle. So now if you see it as a triangle, do you remember any law? Do you recall any law? Yes, exactly. The law states that sum of all angles inside triangle equals 180 degree. Exactly. So we are given the value of two angles. We have to find a third one. We have done it many times, right? We have done it in the first question, second question. Now this is the third question. We have to find the value of this unknown angle. So let's do it. So now we'll write the solution here. I have written solution. So now I'll say angle CEB. You can start from anywhere. Angle CEB or EBC or BCE whatsoever. So angle, I'll start from angle CEB. So angle C, E, and B plus. So I've written this angle, angle EBC, angle EBC plus this one angle, angle ECB, angle ECB equals 180 degree. Now you have to mention the reason why it equals 180 degree, because sum of all angles inside a triangle equals 180 degree. So it will be better if I mention a triangle, that which one triangle am I discussing about. So I'll write it as this one is, I'll draw this triangle, and what I'll name its vertices EBC. So I'll mention vertices EBC, right? So now that's done. Now let's put the values. So angle, first one is angle CEB, right? So angle CEB, we have named it as C degree. So I'll write, instead of writing CEB, I'll write it as C degree plus, instead of writing EBC, EBC is EBC. So this one is 90 degree. I'll, instead of writing EBC, I'll write 90 degree plus angle ECB, EC and B. Instead of writing angle ECB, I'll write it as 39 degree. I'll write its value. It equals same 180 degree. So now C degree plus 90 plus 39 equals 129 degree. That will equal 180 degree, right? So now C degree here, 129 is in positive terms. If we move this to another side of an equation, it becomes negative. Exactly 180 degree minus 129 degree. So now C degree equals 180 minus 129 equals 51. So that is, we have found the value of C degree here, right? So I told you that if you memorize laws, if you remember them and practice them, right, then you will be able to solve this question. These are very easy question, right? Just think of it as a triangles, or think of the ways you can solve this, right? Now moving on to the next part, we have to find the value of t degree here, right? But I don't see any way to find the value of t degree here. What can help us is just 78 degree here. So now if I think of it like this, I solve this question because I thought of it as triangle. So if I think of it this thing as a triangle as well, BEC. So this one is a triangle, right? This one is a triangle. So what we will do is, we know the value of this angle. What if we know, if we find the value of this angle, will we be able to solve this angle? I think yes, because if we use the law that is says the sum of all angles inside a triangle equals 180 degree, and we know the value of two angles, and we will be able to find the value of third angle like this. Here we knew the value of two angles, right? And then we found the value of third angle. Here we are given just one angle. So if we find the value of this one angle, we will be able to find the value of this angle, right? If I draw a triangle here, this one same triangle like this. So this is, I've not drawn it perfectly, but you have to do it, right? Using a scale or some whatsoever, because I have a mobile in my hand, so I can't. So this is t degree, and this is what we don't know. This is 78 degree. So I have just extracted this triangle from this right rectangle. I have extracted it here. So now if I find the value of this angle, we will be able to find the value of this angle, because we will, what we will use is this law. So now we have to find the value of this angle. So do you remember the previous question that we solved? In the previous question, same was the case. We were given an angle here that was 54 degree, and this angle was named as A degree, right? And we had to find the value of this angle. So what we did, we used the property of a rectangle to find the value of this angle. And what was that? That all angles inside a rectangle are 90 degree exactly. So this whole angle has been divided into two parts. So this whole angle equals 90 degree, and this whole angle has been divided into two parts. One is 39 degree and one is this one part which we don't know. So if I tell you that whole of a thing equals 90 degree, and how has been divided into two parts, one is 39 degree, will you be able to find the second part? Exactly, we will be able to find the second part. So let's first write it in equation form. In mathematics we use equations, so we have to convert this thing into an equation form. So first write the name of this whole equation, and the name of this whole equation will equal BCD, right? So I'll write angle B and C and D. So I'll write it like this: angle BCD equals angle BCE, angle BCE, BCE plus an angle ECD, right? Angle ECD, angle ECD, right? Why this one is a whole angle, this one has been divided two parts, right? This one part and this one part, the same is the case. This one is a whole angle, this has been divided in two parts. I have written it in equation form, this part and this part, right? So now let's move on. Angle BCD, whole angle, right? We know its value is 90 degree. Why? Because it's a rectangle, right? And BCE, we know its value, I think. Value of BCE is 39 degree. Right? Exactly. This is 39 degree, we'll write, plus angle ECD. Angle ECD will remain the same because we don't know its value, right? So we'll mention here that why did we write angle BCD equals 90 degree? Angle BCD equals 90 degree because all angles inside rectangle equal 90 degree, right? That's a property of rectangle. So now moving on, this 39 is in positive terms here. If we move to this side of equation, it becomes negative. So 90 degree minus 39 degree equals angle ECD, right? So now the value of angle ECD will equal, so what will be the value of ECD? ECD will equal 51 degree here, right? If we subtract 39 from 90, so we'll find what we'll get is 51 degree. So now we found the value of 51 degree, right? So I'll write it as 51 degree. This was not required, right? I'll write same here, 51 degree. So this finding this angle was not required, but to find this angle, I had to find this angle, right? So now we know the value of 70 this degree, this angle and this angle. Now we have to find this angle. So it seems as a triangle, and inside a triangle we know the value of two angles. We have to find a third one. We can do it, we have to do it many times, right? So that's easy. So that must have been on your fingertips. right? So angle, this has been named as DEB. First I'll write start from here, DEC. So angle DEC plus angle ECD, right? Angle ECD plus angle EDC, right? Angle EDC equals 180 degree. Now we have to mention the reason, because sum of all angles inside a triangle equals 180 degree. So it becomes better if we mention the triangle, and that is triangle will name its vertices ECD. So we'll write ECD. This one is a triangle, right? So it's one vertex is E named as, and second vertex is named as C, and third vertex is named as D. So I have written its vertex. I have drawn triangle and its vertex ECD, right? So now moving on, I'll put the values, right? I don't know the, do I know the value of DC? Yes, I think I know. DEC, that is 78 degree. So 78 degree, instead of writing DC, I'll write 78 degree plus angle ECD, angle EC and D, that is 51 degree, 51 degree plus angle EDC, right? So angle EDC, we don't know its value, but we have termed it as D degree. So I'll write D degree equals 180 degree. So that's, let's solve this. So 78 plus 51 equals, so now 78 plus 51 equals 9, and 7 and 5 equals 12, right? So plus D degree equals 180 degree, right? So now moving on, 129 is in positive terms here. So if it moves to the next side of an equation, it becomes negative. So what we will do is, we'll write what remains here. This side of equation is D degree equals 180 degree minus 129 degree. So what will be the value of D is, if we subtract 129 from 180, it equals 51 degree. So that is the value of D degree. So now students, we solved this part of a question as well, the B part of a question. And what we did, we used just two laws. That is, first one is sum of all angles inside a triangle equals 180 degree, and second one law is that all angles inside a rectangle equals 90 degree. So what I did, I just looked at the question. The question was this one, right? I had to find the value of this angle, and I used the property of a rectangle that says that all angles inside the rectangle equals 90 degree. So I thought that if all angles inside a triangle equals 90 degree, so this angle must be 90 degree. So if this angle is a 90 degree, so it seems as, so this one is 90 degree, so this part seems as a triangle, right? So inside a triangle we are given two values. So if in any triangle, right, if anywhere you find a triangle and its two values, angle of values of two angles are given, you must easily solve the value of, find the value of third angle. And what's, how will you do it? By using the law that sum of all angles inside a triangle equals 180 degree, right? So we use the law, that law, and we found the value of C degree, right? So now this again seems as a triangle, right? So this again seemed as a triangle, but in this triangle we were given the value of just one angle, and we were not given the value of another angle. If we had the value of this angle, we would have been able to find the value of third angle. What we did, we found the value of this angle. So how did we find the value of this angle, right? What we did, we know we use the property of a rectangle that says that all angles inside a rectangle equals 90 degree. So it means the sum of these two angles will also equal 90 degree, right? So I just did that, I put it in equation form, and then I found that if the sum of these two angles equals 90 degree, then this angle will equal, what we will do to find the value of this angle, we'll subtract 39 from 90 degree. So we found the value of this angle, that became 51 degree, right? So if it is 51 degree, now again, in case this is a triangle, right, and inside a triangle we are given the values of two angles, so will you be able to find the value of third angle? Exactly. How we will do it? Sum of all angles inside a triangle equals 180 degree, right? So I summed these angles both up and subtracted from 180 degree. I found the value of this degree, this angle. So this is how we will solve the the problems, right? So moving now we'll move on to the third question. Make another video of it, right? And then again in that question we will use the properties of quadrilaterals. If it's a rectangle, its own properties, rectangle has its own properties, parallelogram has its own properties, right? Triangle has its own properties. Just remember the properties and laws, and you will be able to solve the question, right?